Alrighty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another market update. Hope everybody had a lovely day. And with that being said, into the TA. All right, guys, so pretty simple game plan for tomorrow. We are looking for things to continue. SPY did get a new all-time high, S&P 500 new all-time high, not on a closing basis. Actually, yes, on a closing basis, but we also got one on an intraday basis as well. We are very likely going to continue up to 630 from here. Above 62628, we're targeting 628 and then 630. So that's your upside. On the downside, we have 62472, 62301, and then 62091. If we start coming down to 62091, we're probably going to start breaking down from there. And you know, we build something out here over the next 1 to 2 weeks. But I will just say it's likely that we're going to continue pushing tomorrow and close out the week strong. But yeah, I mean, worst case scenario, we're going to get something like this. That then, you know, this dip would just be bought up. We're talking by next week. So, you know, there's that. I think it's very likely that we are going to continue pushing here, considering how SPY is set up for us, considering how QQQ here is set up for us. You know, we've been at this spot 3 times now. We've had 2 failed attempts here. So we will see if we can get above 55720. If we can tomorrow, we're talking a straight up push to 560. Now, you know, from current price, from today's closing price, that really is not too much to ask for. There's only, you know, 0.8% there. Not too bad. You know, the dips continued to get bought up. We did not take out 552.80. We pointed that out as yesterday's level to be watching. If we could not hold there, then we're probably going to start coming down 55110. If we test there, we're probably going to break under 549.58. But we did not break under 552.80. We held right there. That's where the 4-hour 21 EMA was. That is where we got held up here and got held up on both of these 4-hour candles here. So yeah, I mean, buyers remain in control here. And if we can get through 55720, we're going straight to 560. All right, so that's really what you're watching over there on QQ. Coming over to SPY on the upside, like we said above, 626.28. We're talking 628 and then 630. Above 630, 635. On the downside, 624.72, 623.01, 620.91. Underneath 620.91, we're probably just, you know, breaking under 617.87 here. Maybe we revisit 615, 613. Maybe, but regardless, we'd probably just build out some form of consolidation here if that's going to be the case, and then we'd work on getting to this level end of July. But, you know, considering this is how the monthly candle of July looks as of right now, I think it's very likely that we are just going to continue pushing. I think maybe we get another week of consolidation. That's worst case scenario. All right, so, you know, maybe a triple inside week here, you know, just inside this range, double inside week, triple range bound week that we then would be breaking out of. But, you know, I think this monthly candle is likely to expand to the upside. Maybe it's to the downside as well, but it's likely to just be bought back up to these prices at the end of the month and probably close out the month green to keep this 10-year winning streak going for the month of July. All right, so that is SPY and QQ, guys. We're going to be coming over here. We'll go over IWM, guys. You got up to 226. All right, guys. If you cannot put on, you know, your own levels here, if you do not know what to look for, all right, but you want to, you know, base your trades off of clean price action and, you know, clean levels to watch that price action off of, just steal the levels I go over here in this video. 226.14, guys. You rejected right here. On the downside, you have 223.01 and then 220.67. Now, if you do pull back, you're probably going to find buyers off of 220.67. I'm just going to point out on the weekly chart here. All right, you are just, you know, kind of going vertical. It's not going to be surprised to get a pullback here. You're now in the upper end of the golden pocket. All right, so I don't know if you're going to go straight to 230 or not. I feel like you're not going to. I think you're probably going to get a pullback before doing so. So just, you know, keep that in mind. If you are still, you know, in the breakout trade from all the way over here, guys, guess what? All right, now you definitely caught the whole move. Maybe it goes up 228, maybe it doesn't. Who cares? But on the downside, 223, 226.7, 218.41, then 215.93, where you broke out from. Don't want to revisit down here. If you do, you're probably going to break it. So you don't want to do that. On the upside, 226.14, 227.98, 230.70. All right, so that is SPY, QQ, IWM over here on VIX, guys. Another, bearish close over here. We closed at the low of day, just about. And, I just want to point out, you have these hourly bullish divergences building out. I assume we are going to be getting a bounce, whether, these hold or not, or, like over here, you had, 1 to 2 trading sessions where you just kept falling over here on the VIX. Indices kept rising, and then it started to bounce. All right, but within a few trading sessions, we're going to be expecting a bounce over here, okay? It could be tomorrow, but probably not. It's probably not going to be tomorrow, and it would probably be early on next week, okay? And if VIX is going to be bouncing over here, the market's going to be doing a little bit of a pullback, so we're going to get ready for it. All right, and tie that into the overall thesis here. All right, so those are the indices there. DIA, guys, we already know it wants to get up to all-time highs. We knew the pullback was going to be a buying opportunity to get up to all-time highs. And, until it gets up to all-time highs, we know everything else is likely going to continue seeing dips bought. Everything is aligning with each other. Everything is just having these all-time high breakouts. DIA just has not yet. It has not. But you come over here to SPY. We just started that breakout just 2 weeks ago. QQ, we also just started that breakout just 2 weeks ago. We're likely not just gonna fall flat on our face, guys. So if you do have this crazy bearish bias and you think a major pullback back QQ 525 530 is coming, I have bad news for you. It's probably not. All right, worst case scenario, you revisit previous all-time high 540.81, but honestly I don't even think that's gonna happen. But if it does, it gets bought up. But with how these last 2 weeks have now shaped up, tomorrow, this week closing, I don't think that's probable. And again, the monthly candle, I think it's going to expand. It's definitely not going to stay like that. All right, we're getting a nice upper wick or lower wick put in here. We're going to have some size on this candlestick. And right now, we just don't have that. So we're definitely looking for it to expand. If it gets to the downside, we're going to look for that lower wick to stop over here around 540.81 and then get bought back up. And like I said, green July's 10-year streak now. It's probably going to continue. So if we do see that, we expect it to get bought. But in the short term, guys, things are looking like they want to continue pushing. You're getting tight up here. This is just a form of consolidation, okay? I know you're going a little bit higher. You made new highs yesterday. I see. But in reality, price action is just getting real tight here as moving averages catch up. And, either you are going to do something like that and then go up, or you do something like that. Then you get a major pullback. All right. You get a big blow off style move, maybe up to 570, 575, and then you finally pull back. So, I think people that are bearish, they're just a little bit early. It doesn't mean you can't pull back over here, 540, like I said, 545. You can. All right. But it's probably something that will be bought pretty quick. And in the short term, at least, it looks like we're probably going to be breaking above 5720 tomorrow. All right, so bullish bias, still proven otherwise. Everything's really pointing to that. And let's go over some Mag 7 stocks, guys. All right, so starting off with NVDA. All right, guys, really doesn't look all that bad to me. Worst case scenario, consolidation here. We're also likely just going to push up and hit 165, guys. We still haven't hit 165. It's likely going to happen. All right, today's high was 164.50. Tomorrow we probably hit 165, in my personal opinion. There's NVIDIA. Apple. All right, guys. Again, we have down here 209.48. It's continuing to hold. We took out 211.43 today. And you went for quite a ride. 2 points to the upside. All right, guys, above 214.56, we have 216.23, 219.38, and then 225.70. 200 daily moving average somewhere right around 223. That's probably going to be a hit in the short term. By that, I mean probably next week. All right. We knew this dip was probably going to be bought. The weekly cloud is about to flip back to bullish. It hasn't been bullish in quite some time, but once it happens, guys, dips is just going to keep getting bought. And we're probably going to be up 225, 230 before we know it. That's Apple. Google over here, guys, weekly chart. We knew to expect this dip to be bought. It's got some bearish news the other day. That's fine. Guess what? It's looking like it's probably going to pop out of this consolidation in the short term. Maybe it doesn't come tomorrow. Maybe it comes early next week. I have absolutely no idea, but that's how it's shaping up. So on the daily time frame, you're paying attention to 179.59 above there, 180.77 above there, 182.45 above there, 188.71. All right. On the downside, you don't want to lose 175.94. If so, you're probably taking out this low, probably going to take out 173. And the move that we speak of is not happening right now. Amazon. All right. Also not looking all that bad. Same situation as Google, except looking a little bit cleaner here. You got a tight range going on here. 218.40 all the way up to 223.75. 5-point range. Okay. 223.72 to be exact. But, you know, honestly, guys, it's getting ready to break out. It's pretty clear as day. It's been about a week and a half here at this point in time. About 2 weeks as of tomorrow, actually. You got a 2-week range. We just broke out of the 3-week range. We're now breaking, retesting for two whole weeks above that previous range. Yeah, next week, guys. If not tomorrow, next week, this thing starts to go. And then we're looking at 230, 235. That's Amazon. All right. Another one that's suggesting upside is likely. Probably just going to continue this choo-choo train to the upside, guys. Over here, Microsoft. Are we expecting it to do anything different from what it's been doing for months now? No, we're not, because we're not crazy people. All right, break and retest off 576, guys. Probably going to find its way back up at 506.78 tomorrow. But if not tomorrow, early next week. Because, Microsoft has been getting just every little dip bought up. Just grinds higher every single time for months now. All right, Tesla. I know it's looking real nice. Honestly, I think it might get right through 314.74 tomorrow, and maybe it does some crazy things and engulfs this candle and gets above 320. I know, I'm crazy. Maybe. I still don't really think it's the best idea to be trading this thing, considering what it's been doing. Considering, you know, I don't know why people are going to really be buying the stock with what the guy is doing. At least for the next few years, it really doesn't make sense. They're just going to have an overall general tougher time. Its tension's diverting, but you know, I'm just going to speak about the charts right here, guys. I have a feeling this thing is, if it doesn't happen tomorrow, it's probably going to get above this candle high next week. All right, this candle high was at 325.58. So, you know, honestly, I think that's probably going to be the case. I still really, you know, I'm not personally trading it. I wouldn't recommend personally trading it. It just kind of makes no sense to me. But I'm also going to say, it's starting to gain some steam again. It's got increasing volume on the day. If it can get above 314.74, I think it's going to go straight to 325.58. If it happens tomorrow, hey, could be a crazy move. Okay, so there's Tesla. And then, you know, lastly, Meta over here, guys. It is just, you know, consolidating a range. I don't think it's going to break down. We did have 8.8 mil calls come in. I think it was on the 735 strike yesterday for 8.15. So this is August 15th for 8.8 mil. So I don't really think it's going to break down. I think it's going to do what I originally said when we printed this coming into this week. And then I told you guys over here, it's getting really tight. I think it's probably going to, you know, give a little pop tomorrow or, you know, into end of week. But I don't think it's going to take out this high here at 747.90. It just wouldn't make sense going off the weekly chart. It can happen, but, you know, every other time you start getting these red candlesticks, especially one like that, it just it leads to minimum consolidation for a few weeks, sideways action, maximum a full-on pullback. All right, you know, something decent, and then still sideways action. You know, all this, you're just looking for consolidation following that or for a price to sell. And yeah, I mean, this is exactly what's happening over here. So I don't think it's going to sell. I don't think it's going to really get bought up over 747.90 either. But, you know, I'm just saying, guys, that's 6 out of, honestly, everything was really looking good there. Meta's the only one I'm thinking, you know, might not be moving up. But that's 7 out of 7 Mag 7 stocks, we'll call it, that are suggesting we probably are going to continue up or at minimum consolidate. They're not looking bearish. I don't know who really is going to be bearish in these things, but if they are, tell them they need to not be, because they're completely wrong and they're just looking at the whole thing wrong. And if you find yourself looking at the whole thing wrong, just take a step back, look at this. I have no bias. I have no incentive to steer anybody in the wrong direction. I don't have any incentive to be in the wrong direction. All right. We're all here to make money. And I just showed you that every factor we really can look at here is suggesting we probably have some further upside to go. So don't get prematurely bearish, you know, position accordingly, trade accordingly, and I think you're going to have a good time. Now, we got everything else out of the way. Let's look at some trade ideas, you know, going into the coming sessions tomorrow. Lotto Friday. We'll see what happens. I'm going to point out some setups that I think maybe could make some outsized moves tomorrow, just for you. All right, over here on Hood, guys, it's looking phenomenal. It's looking like it wants to take out 188 tomorrow. And if it does get above 188 tomorrow, it might just go to, we're talking 102, 103, maybe 105 pretty quick here. But regardless, regardless of what happens tomorrow, I think this move happens either tomorrow or the following week. So by next Friday. All right, this range right here, 10-point range. Well, take the breakout level 188. Take it 10 points. You're coming up here to 110. All right, 110, 111, guys. So I do think that is probably about to be the case in the short term. I think it makes sense that we're going to see a pop above 188 tomorrow and continue a couple points just because the weekly candle, most of these things, if we get that close to the previous high, either you're going to go slightly above it here by a couple points, 64 up to 67. That's equivalent to like a 5 or 6 point move now. If that's going to make it tomorrow, we'll see. But either something like that, or you're at least going to test it like you did this week right here. All of these, if you get this close to it, you're looking like you take them out. I definitely think the daily chart is set up over here to pop in the short term. I think this is trying to accelerate again. You've now been consolidating for a week and a half. So I do think this thing could pop here above 188. I think the target should be 110, maybe 115. I think you're pushing it, and I think a pullback is due if you hit 115 right away. I don't think you're going to continue just going vertical. You've been going vertical for quite some time. I think this might be a finishing move. But guys, on finishing moves, you honestly start making the biggest moves. Do you see this crap? You see this? All right. You see that? I didn't even catch that. All right. I wish I was in it for that. This thing went nuts. Another 10 to 15 points for you if you decide to hold past current all-time highs at $85. All right. Me personally, I'm a pussy. All right. But I'll tell you right now, I'm not being a pussy. Okay. We're playing it for this move up 105, 110. But, quite frankly, if this thing gives you 102, I'll be up 100% tomorrow, and I'm just going to be out. There's a chance this thing just gaps up, and if anybody's in it right now, I think it's a good chance to get out there. All right, take your profit, and maybe it pulls back, and you could re-enter on that pullback because it's probably then going to 110. All right, so that's Hood. Second off, guys, we're talking MSTR. You know what you know about it. Okay, you come over here, Bitcoin, guys. It started exploding today. All right, people who are bearish in this thing, I don't really understand. Just like the market right now, if all factors are suggesting you should be bullish on it, looking for continuation at a minimum consolidation, you should not be taking bearish positions. You should not have a bearish outlook on the market. Market's probably going to continue getting bought up. We just went through a major correction. We're now breaking out to all-time highs. Get ready for this thing to keep going up over the coming months. Get ready for bears to continue getting mad because that's the recipe we have here. Okay. Bitcoin all-time highs, guys. It broke 112K. I told you guys in the short term we could go maybe 114, 115K. We'll see what happens. But at this point in time, it is looking like we're probably going to be going a little bit higher. Do not be surprised if the thing starts pulling back. Do not start getting all bearish if the thing starts pulling back. But I also will not be surprised if it starts getting a little vertical here, considering last time you broke all-time highs. This is 1 to 2 weeks after. You're all the way up here, $20,000 higher. We're now, higher up. But yeah, I mean, when people shit their freaking pants, if you got up here to 130K, I'm just saying it's going to be a little nuts. But I'm talking 120 to 125K on this next move, and MSTR and Coinbase are going to start going berserker. And I know I looked a little crazy in the first half over here with MSTR, but who's the crazy one now, huh? Yeah. No, real talk though, this thing is probably about to start making a big move. Maybe it, has a tough time over here, but I'm going to be honest, by next week, if it doesn't happen tomorrow, break 430.35, I'm talking next week, and then we go to 445. All right, which is the exact level is 444.94. That is what I'm talking next week. All right. I hope you guys are making money here. I hope if you guys were also a little bit early that you didn't drive yourself too crazy. But, in the end, you caught a ripper of the move. And hopefully you were ready to make some money over the coming weeks over here on MSTR. And I will also say this over here. Coinbase, guys, this thing's going a little bit crazy. Broke 382. It's probably, I don't know, maybe gaps up to 394, 395 tomorrow. I think this thing is going to start having some crazy outsized moves again. And yeah, You know, I personally was a pussy here as well. I had 360s coming into the week. Those things would have went 3 to 4x by now. I'm a pussy. It's okay. It's probably going to be at 400, 410 tomorrow. No one, you know, I'm a pussy. It's okay though. You know, at the start of the week, it was looking nice. And then Tuesday, it wasn't looking so nice. And then boom, it started exploding yesterday. And now all of a sudden, it's a freaking party. Okay. Now the weekly chart looks a little crazy over here above 382. You really have nothing until 429.54. And that's your IPO high. You want to see an example of what happens when you take out the IPO high? You go a little crazy in the next week, you go another 10%. What if Coinbase goes another 10% from the IPO high? We're talking 470. Well, at that point, 470 is pretty close to $500. So yeah, maybe you just go up to $500. You're going to be 470, 480. All right. And then you're only 20 points away. And then 500 cycle level, it's going to act as a magnet. All of a sudden, 500 plus is here. That's what I think is going to happen on Coinbase. Sorry if I sound a little bit crazy, but I don't think I am. I think this is probably how this is going to go. And I think people are going to be shook, but I'm going to be that guy that was calling for everything before it happened. And then, yeah, you know, hopefully these next 2-3 weeks, guys, I hope everybody banks off this play. Coinbase, MSTR, I think they're going to be getting big moves. MAR over here is starting to really shape up as well. But I will just say MSTR and Coinbase are the clear, easy winners there. But, you know, really everything is looking pretty nice. Okay, pretty nice over here on just about every single crypto stock you can imagine here. And then, you know, I'll just point out ETH over here is ETH. All right, so Ethereum over here. This is the ETF that tracks it, and it looks like it's about to be making some moves. And you know, I'm just going to come over here to the actual ticker here for Ethereum, and yeah, we're probably going to be getting 3,500, 3,700 over the coming weeks if you know everything's going to go according to plan here. But I think you're probably in one of these consolidation periods or over the coming weeks, you could start making some really big moves. Okay, some really big moves, maybe some 40, 50% size moves. And yeah, that brings you all the way up here 4K. We'll see what happens again. We'll see what happens. But yeah, MSTR and Coinbase looking phenomenal. I think Coinbase, I hate to say it, but it might be the big winner. And MSTR, I think people are going to think I'm even more nuts if I say 480 to 500 incoming, probably in my opinion, next 2 to 3 weeks. Coinbase, like I said, I'm already nuts. 480 to 500 coming next 2 to 3 weeks, maybe. But I think probably. I do. All right. Next one over here is going to be Uber, guys. Uber, I'm just going to say I think it gets bought up above 97.72 tomorrow. Like I said, a lot of Friday. These are some ideas that could be cooking tomorrow. And Uber is one of these over here. But, you know, Bitcoin wants to go up to 115, guys. I'm serious. MSTR is going to pop off. Coinbase is going to pop off. I'm thinking Coinbase goes freaking crazy. But, you know, I also think Hood is ready to pop off. There's that. PayPal is something that's not looking all that bad into Friday. Either way, into next week. I think this thing is probably going to be continuing up here to $79. All right. But yeah, Uber is just something that I think can get up to 97.72. And above there, you're probably going to 99 or 100. All right. We'll see. Shopify. All right. Shopify is something that's getting really tight in this range. Maybe it doesn't start tomorrow. I think it makes sense that it doesn't start tomorrow. But if you guys see it take out 117.36, I'm just saying, guys, it really doesn't make all that much sense for this thing to put in a hammer candlestick with how it's shaping up here. So I think you turn into one of these massive green weekly candles here. If you get through 117.36, I think you can make an outsized move. Maybe we get 120, 121 tomorrow. All right. So maybe it comes tomorrow, but if not tomorrow, I think it can definitely happen early next week with how things are shaping up here. But at this point now, it's been 2 weeks of consolidation here, 2.5, going on 3 weeks of consolidation. It's getting ready to rumble. All right. And when it does finally rumble, it's going to be 121, 124 pretty quick. That's Shopify. QBTS. All right. QBTS is something that's consolidating right around the daily 21 over here. You want it to hold over here. And I'm just going to point to these guys. All right. Red candle after green candle. Okay. It's a very tight weak consolidation right there. Boom. You hit it with a 78% week. You have another one. Well, what happened after that? 67% week. You have another one. What happened after? At the highs, 100% week. Now, do I think that's going to happen? No. All right. But, you know, I think we could get above 20 next week. And maybe this thing goes a little crazy next week. Maybe. Again, just maybe. I think that's how it's shaping up to be, though. I'll keep you guys posted on it. Either way, you could set your alerts. If you get through 1754, you take out this high from Tuesday here, probably going straight to 1977, and you catch that move. But once it breaks out, I think 23, 25 in the cards. That's QBTS. Coming over here to Sound, the Sound Hound AI. All right. Monthly candle chart. It's looking pretty sexy. Weekly candle chart. It's also looking pretty sexy. You just took out this high. You know, you guys know what I say. It doesn't usually make sense to just push this. Any pullback and then, you know, fall off a cliff there. Any pullback is very likely to be bought, all right, over the coming weeks. But honestly, more likely than not, in the short term, I think this is probably going to be bought up. Could be something that moves well tomorrow. On the 4-hour chart, it's looking pretty appealing here. All right, looks like it could be shaping up for, you know, a little move back up. And if it doesn't happen tomorrow, then I assume next week this thing ends up taking out 1342 and push it 1535. All right, so big moves are possible here, but volume's starting to shape up here. I really like it with price. It's just falling price up there. All right, and you're getting above, you know, at least pushing. Maybe not holding above, but you're at least pushing. You're holding up where you need to be. It's looking like it's ready to move up to the next area, which is 1535 and then 1765. Next one is going to be ASTS. All right, ASTS, guys, it's consolidating in, you know, a very bull flag looking manner here. You know, whether it be something like that or whether it be a wedge, all right, something shaping up here. It's controlled consolidation. It's a controlled pullback right into the daily 21 EMA. It's right where you had this most recent breakout here. You know, I think there's a solid chance that this thing is going to start turning around from right over here. 4-hour RSI was oversold over here. You know, we have seen what has happened in the past when you got in here, oversold territory, the 4-hour RSI. Except for this one time where you had this kind of major correction go on here. But this bad boy is trending right now. This is a very controlled pullback. I'm serious, guys. It's very controlled. To me, it looks like this thing's flagging out. It looks like it's getting ready to snap back up. And I'd say if we can take out 48.32, we are probably going to be pushing back up to 54.05. And then I imagine 60 comes quick. So this was a momentum name that just did not have pullbacks that lasted longer than a day since beginning of June. That's now, you know, almost 1.5 months there. All right. Well, it was a 1 month long rip, and then it's corrected now for 2 weeks. And I'm thinking it's about to go back into rippy mode. We're going to see. And I think you at least get this little minor push through the highs here. 58.60, I think at least comes with how it's shaping up. After that, maybe it does consolidate and build something out for like, you know, another couple months. We have no idea. But we just broke up from a whole crap ton of time consolidating. All right. It's a very, you know, big range we broke out from 18 all the way up there. That's 20 points. I honestly think we almost got that anyway. 15. So yeah, 60. You know, measure move of this range breakout brings us up to 60. A weekly time frame pull back to the weekly 21. Makes sense to me that honestly, you know, maybe it starts going tomorrow. Maybe it's going to be next week, but I'm going to definitely be watching this one to start moving again. All right, so that's ASTS. Oklo. All right, Oklo is another one that you could start putting back on your radar. If it can take out 57.59, it probably gets above 59.14. If it gets above 59.14, previous all-time high here, it's probably going to make the push to 64.78. Above there, 73.55. Above there, $80 comes quick. All right, we didn't really get much from this all-time high breakout, not as much as I anticipated there. And I'm just telling you, this thing has kind of been consolidating here for, you know, a month, 2 months now, month and a half at least. This thing is looking like it wants to actually make another rip. And I think it's going to be something real nice, real pretty. I think it might bring us up to $80. So I'm keeping it on the radar, and maybe you should too. SMCI, guys, although today it didn't really start doing much of anything, it just kind of, you know, got the breakout and boom, closed back underneath 50.61. Tomorrow could be the day it all starts. We don't know. But, you know, I'm just going to say, I think a big move is right around the corner. Hood is breaking down under 97. That's crazy. Crazy. But yeah, real talk over here, SMCI, guys. I do think a big move is right around the corner. We're knocking on the devil's door here. Above 50.61. I think, yeah, get above 51.70. You run straight to 54.30, and then 56.19 comes shortly after that. Next one I'm putting on your radar is Target. This was showing some strength today. It looks like it's going to be taking out 105.97 tomorrow. If it builds something out here for a few sessions, you have a little base to go off of, and then you look for the break above 106. That brings you up to 108.76. That's the trade plan over here on Target, but I think it's probably going to be making this move. Bitcoin, 114K. Oh, it's going nuts. Oh my God. Oh, go off, buddy. Go off. You want to see this on the 5-minute? No, we'll look at it on the 15-minute. Look at that thing go. Look at that clean breakout. Just happened in real time. I don't know if Coinbase and MSTR are going to be moving, but I assume they are. There we go. What was happening over here on our guy Hood? Hood is falling off a cliff. What's happening with our guy Hood over here? I have no idea. Either way, guys, if it builds something out for a few sessions here, expect that to be bought up. Bitcoin is straight up rocketing right now. What's going on? It's going crazy. 115K has been hit. The target we gave you in this video has been hit. Let's see if we keep going. Oh, it's going fucking berserker. Oh boy. Pardon my French. MSTR 425, ladies and gents. Coinbase 395 incoming. With that being said, guys, I will catch you all in the next one. Everybody have a lovely rest of their day. Bitcoin's going nuts. It's a good day. And I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.